Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. How's it going? I'm looking at this leaf right here. Isn't it so pretty? Looks like there's photosynthesis in the stems there. Stems stick. I'm ready to get back into science so I can learn all about the nature that surrounds us. Anyway, happy Friday. How y'all doing? Um, I don't have much political to say today, but I did have 2 points I wanted to mention. I think it's been almost a week since I made my last video. So, first point that I wanted to tell y'all. This pool net right here, has officially, I think, put her house on the market. I just took Benja out just now, and it's Gypsy. You can see her little nose, so don't even try it. Good morning, Gypsy. I'll get over here. She's gonna want to play. But yeah, pool net. You can even see our pool net. Who has not filmed me? That was my mistaken error. I guess I'll go ahead and put that out. Officially put the house on the market. Who's the realtor? KW Interiors, I think is what the sign said. If you're wondering, if you want to do your little research. Officially on the market. As far as a lot line, you might be confused. You say, look, this little line that goes all the way over there, but it's a fence. You might have to have some discussions with the realtor about it. Yeah, May 2nd, officially on the market, pool net. What that means for me, probably nothing good. To be quite honest with you. Anyway, so that was one thing I wanted to tell. The other thing was this, I looked on Twitter this morning, and not really much news going on. So, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to start watching cable news. I'm not getting much on my Twitter feed. But executive order cutting the funding of PBS and NPR, which I would say, as far as I think there might be something about like trauma in politics, traumatization in politics, which you can say is like well, technically not a hippy dippy thing, because the hippies were like in the 60s and 70s maybe. But that might be a thing. Traumatization in politics. If I read that word, I would skip all the letters I just skipped. So according to my reading, I pronounced that word correctly. Just kidding. Anyway, a little joke. But yeah, I think maybe a new thing, a new era, a new age of politics can be that. Not saying that there is not trauma in other ages and stuff like that, times, generations. But since we're kind of in this mental health era, might as well just add that in there, right? A field of study. Um, but yeah, so as far as cutting the funding for NPR and PBS, in an executive order, my first thought is which judge is going to say that is illegal, unlawful, an overreach of presidential powers. Um, and then the second one is it's probably not going to be considered a major shock to the system as far as all that goes. I'm wondering what kind of pushback there'll be and in what form. Are they going to go to Twitter? Our judge might say something, they might, but as far as content, are they just going to go on a podcast? I wonder, whatever company is affiliated with me, do they count my phone as a business expense? As far as like taxes go? I can't wait to get into all that. Can't wait. What have y'all been doing? Hi, nice to meet you. What have you been doing? Anyway, allegedly, just gonna throw that out there. Yeah, but anyway, these days it's obviously not too difficult to, as far as I know, NPR not so much, but PBS, there's a PBS app and it has television shows, um, British television shows too. So as far as like the United States PBS funding, um, you know, a contributor to the arts, I guess. I don't know. You would think it would be more like Nat Geo or something, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that would be National Parks and Wildlife, not necessarily PBS. But anyway, um, yeah, it doesn't seem too traumatizing. Doesn't as far as uh, if you've been keeping up with politics, it's not something that's was completely unforeseeable, completely unexpected. Uh, Something about a loop, thrown out of the loop or something. And again, it doesn't seem to you just gotta like get a mic and stuff, right? I mean, as far as credentials, I'm sure if you're part of NPR and PBS, you have certain kind of credentials, resume, and those wouldn't change with the federal government financing of the microphones or whatever. Investigative resources. I don't know. And as far as public reception of that, as far as the traumatization, that's one, and then the other part is probably just like uh, probably not going to be much pushback. Anyway, I was going to go somewhere with that, but I forgot. So yeah, those are the two things going on. There's a minerals deal. If you're wondering, I'm interested in it because being in Texas, it's kind of a thing, and I think maybe anybody who's been wondering about why these gas prices have increased. So I saw, was it in California? The gas was what, like six something a gallon? You got a mineral steel, and then you got no buying of Iran oil. I didn't see anything about that on Clown Gabbard's Twitter. If you're wondering, I don't go to her Twitter. The tweet pops up on my Twitter feed. So apparently they forgot the entire year of 2020. Is what I keep telling y'all. So I can't even imagine what's been going on in the public square without me. No, Warriors Creek. So you're really going to have all the arguments? You're not going to have the arguments that kind of line up. You're going to have all the arguments, even the conflicting ones. Okay. Because my argument for 4+ years now is a reason there hasn't been a debate, an interview, let alone a paycheck, let alone a little, you want to know what kind of coffee this is? Is absolutely connected to the reason why I'm here. Right? There cannot be a separation between the two. I'm interested to see anybody's argument that says those are two separate issues. A white truck just drove by. All of these vehicles, and I have to take Tracy to Michael's so I can use my mom's vehicle. So as far as all that goes, I can't imagine what's been the topic of conversation in the public square, of which I am intentionally kept from. And I would say the evidence of a lack of not one interview, not one debate, not one meet and greet, not one commercial, not one advertisement should be evidence enough for that. So I can't wait to see what's been going on with all of that. So as far as cutting the funding, I mean, y'all can have y'all's opinions, and I'm interested to see what y'all's opinions are as being very much a part of society in the public square. But I hope you're not too shocked or unforeseeable that I'm obviously not against cutting the funding. That is not something that's just absolutely unthinkable to me. I say it like that because I know in the first Trump administration, ideas were always presented like that. This is completely shocking, unforeseeable, not good, dictator type mentality. And they even went with it after he left office January 20th. That's what they did. So, okay. Who's in charge? You don't think maybe that's a bad look for you? They're just so used to saying insulting in an intellectually lazy way that they don't care about public consumption of said news. Well, did that land? You don't care? Okay. So yeah, I'm this mineral steel I think is interesting. I think especially with this as far as reputations go. I mean, don't ask Chuck Schumer. He's going to tell you that the 47th president has the lowest approval ratings compared to the last 80 years of presidential approval ratings. So don't ask him. Him aside. I would say as far as statistics go, he would be an outlier. But you're talking about polls. Okay, COVID. Is that too soon of a joke? See, only with more information what is their argument going to be? You don't know what to believe. It's Photoshop. You have too much information. Photoshop. I say that because fear is a very normal, natural, and should be rational response. But this people trying to instill fear in other people, dare I say the general public, clown Gabbard. Excuse me, my throat. anyway, anyway, anyway. So, one second. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. One second. Okay, so anyway, as far as reputations go, and reputations for what reason, right? I think if you're talking about like an academic kind of conversation or perspective, people would say a reputation and an easy go-to to have a conversation around that would be probably like rap and hip hop, right? And stuff like that. Um, which is fine, you know, as far as like all that goes. Community, gangs and stuff like that. I think trying to maybe not necessarily reach out, but just kind of understand what's happening and maybe people's reactions to what's happening and all that isn't such a bad thing, right? Especially considering like it's usually minority communities, right? Where you think about stuff like that. Um, but yeah, so as far as reputations, as far as why people have certain reputations and stuff like that, and whether something is a good or bad, and for who is it good or bad, you know, just because all the moving parts of the situation. Um, I think this minerals deal is interesting, especially considering the tariffs, especially considering I think Hillary Clinton, it was like a uranium deal, right? And before 2006, before 2017, right? 729. I hope that sun's not bothering you. So I just think it's really interesting timing. All this tariffs, all this stuff's moving to, all these businesses are moving their production and manufacturing to the United States, which is interesting. As far as the academic conversations surrounding that, I haven't really heard any other argument other than it's going to cost the consumer more money, or I don't really know as far as all that goes. But I think it's interesting as far as manufacturing and production and business. I'm sure it wouldn't be such a bad thing, especially considering there's a lot of comments about businesses and wages and stuff in America and not in America, right? But yeah, the again, interesting timing with the Ukraine minerals deal. I think Zelensky did a 60-minute interview or something like that. I didn't see all of it. I just saw little clippets and snippets where he didn't speak English. He had to have a translator. You know what? I think I've only seen one other person do that. But anyway, so I think it's really interesting, this minerals deal, and considering the past our minerals deal, I know with Hillary Clinton it was like uranium and selling it to other countries, right? I think it was U.S. uranium sold to some other countries. I don't know which ones. And I know with Noem, Director of Homeland Security, Secretary of Homeland Security, um, it was Chinese farms. It's like, what? Can somebody explain that to me? That's not Noem. That's confusing. What are you talking about? So, um, yeah, I just think this mineral deal is interesting. I know in the 46th President administration, it was the military. One of the first things that happened was the military's oil and gas storage. They used it to stabilize the market or something like that. Um, I just thought it was interesting, this Ukraine war. At the same time of this, the U.S. Oil and gas stockpile is on the low, is low, has been used up. Who is bothering our podcast right now? Our YouTube podcast. Anyway, so I just thought it was interesting that the Ukraine war sending all of these weapons, and according to Zelensky's interview with 60 Minutes, again, I'm unsure if there were loans. He purchased those weapons from the U.S. or what. um, and yeah, so I just thought it was interesting about the oil and gas, and the timing of the Ukraine war, and the amount of weapons. So in the recent 60 Minutes interview, I think he said he bought it, or it was a loan, or something like that. It kind of made it, I can't remember what his exact words, but to me, I was like, oh, he's going with the United States military is a big bad, and you better do what they say. I thought he was playing that card in the 60 Minutes interview. The recent one. So as far as minerals, again, I think it's really interesting. I remember doing a YouTube video about capitalism. I think it was that YouTube video, like one of my first YouTube videos. And I think a part of it, a part of my research for that video was lithium. Lithium is, I think, used for batteries, and I think also used as a, like in pharmaceuticals. I think lithium is like a behavioral, maybe even an antipsychotic. Don't quote me. I don't know. Okay, I don't know about it. I don't take any pills, in case you're wondering. Sometimes I take a fish oil and a women's multivitamin, but other than that, I don't take any pills. Yeah, so I just think it's interesting. The lithium, I think, was from Ecuador or somewhere in Central America. And I think as far as all that goes, terrain. It used to be sugar over there. I know sugar. There's this book. Sometimes I post on my Instagram morning posts, Open Veins in Latin America. It's a good book. I like the emotion to it, and obviously tons of information. But sugar is a big part of that. I know in Hawaii, sugar was is a big part of the economy. I don't know if it still is. Sugar cane, and in the tropics, which is interesting. So yeah, I just think this minerals deal with all this oil and stuff going on is kind of interesting. Uh, you know, especially considering the whether it be loans, whether it not be loans, whether it be the president of Ukraine's decision to buy billions and billions of dollars in weapons and not in training. Seems like not good. And as far as things being counterintuitive, um, it would be like, I know Nikki Haley is saying, always couples Russia and China, and as adversaries. And I guess they're talking about World War I or World War II. I don't really know much about it. I'm not a expert in history, especially in World War histories. But I just think now, as far as economic stability and all of that, I don't see why it would. I guess there always has to be a bad guy, right? And for it to be entire countries, I think as far as safety, to have like the powerhouses like the United States, China, and Russia to be on amicable, on good terms is probably not the worst strategy, right? Especially considering the locations, right? I know it's like Russia and China, and then you have like India, the Middle East, Africa, Europe, and then you have America. But as far as if you don't look at Google Maps, but if you look at a paper map, those countries are like flanking like the entire world. It's like the United States, even though it's small, uh, and there's the United States, and then there's China and Russia, and in between is everybody. So, you know. Maybe it wouldn't be such a bad thing if we weren't calling them the enemy every speech we give. But if it's Nikki Haley doing it, I guess it's, a little fly at a barbecue, not at a barbecue. But anyway, yeah, so that's why I think the minerals deal is interesting, as considering this 45, 46, 47 administrations and everything that's happened. And yeah. And, as far as Clown Gabbard, again, I would refer to that as traumatization in politics. I don't know how y'all see her, but I see her as an absolute clown and unfit for any office, be it military or government. It's my opinion. It's been my opinion for 4+ years now. Anyway. So yeah. It's really interesting as far as I don't know if y'all watch Newsmax, but all of this stuff getting done, and the JFK files and all that, MLK files. I'm waiting for the Secret Service files. Okay, that's what I'm waiting for. Secret Service files. So, which again I would say is under the purview of the Secret Service and also Director of National Intelligence. So I guess we're not going to get those files anytime soon. Huh, Clown Gabbard? Huh? Anyway, 30 minutes. Yeah, I think and also what happened was I don't know if you know this, but there was Hurricane Harvey, which I think was in 2017. And uh, as far as FEMA goes, I know FEMA's kind of been in and out of the news recently. Um, but as far as Hurricane Harvey goes, there was no rebuilding of refineries in that area in Texas. After they got hurricane damage. I don't know why. It could be something as simple as they didn't have good output. Everything was old. It didn't need to be rebuilt. But you know, um, I just think it's interesting how Hurricane Harvey happened, and at the time I heard that it damaged oil refineries, and then apparently we're getting oil from Venezuela or something. And then national stockpile, military oil reserves, wouldn't say at the fittest and best time for wartime, as far as all that goes. And as far as it being oil and gas, I think is an interesting way to have that conversation, if that's the conversation being had. Um, and as far as the individual, gas prices have been crazy. Um, going for renewables and stuff like that, 32 minutes. Yeah, gas prices have increased, right? These past 4 years, gas prices have been the highest that they've been in history, right? So it's weird how gas prices lower, but the approval rating of the president is lowest. So, and they say adjusted to inflation. I would like a little bit, being a non-economics expert, I would like a little bit more explanation to that. Saying adjusted for inflation doesn't really mean much to me. I have a lot more questions. But yeah, that's why I think this minerals deal is interesting. No Iran oil, but we might be getting minerals from Ukraine. And as far as when that's happened, did Zelensky buy all those billions of dollars of Zelensky and the country of Ukraine buy all those billions of dollars of weapons? Were they just given? Are they loans? Because I think that is a lot more. I think in Afghanistan, I think the number on that was it 80 million worth of weapons left in Afghanistan when we left, which, considering we've been there 20 plus years, I don't know what's 80 million divided by 20 years. So obviously not stationing, we were in Afghanistan, we withdrew from Afghanistan. We're obviously not in Ukraine, right? I know before we were in Afghanistan, I think Russia was in Afghanistan. So I think that's interesting. I think that's what they said in the Pentagon Papers, but don't quote me on it. So yeah, building a wall, oil and gas. Let's go ahead and throw renewables in there to bring AOC into the conversation. Cutting the funding, and yeah, yeah. I guess that's my chit chat this morning. That's my discussion. If you want to buy Poolnet's house, it's on the market. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good one.